of us.
It's okay.
And also, I don't know if some people could use maybe translation usually.
Yes, of
We
course.
like to ask people.
Yes. Would you like me to speak slowly and then someone can translate if that's
maybe
easier?
Maybe just take short breaks, but I need to confirm with people if they need translation, or I think you speak English perfectly, so most people should be able to understand, but I would like to ask anyway. Treba nekome da prevodimo, ali razumete?
Yes, we have to translate. Can you hear me? Treba da prevodim. Znam da prevodim. So yes, we do need translation. So please make pauses after.
I will speak a little bit and stop. Yeah.
And you translate.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
And when I obviously because when I do talks, I don't do talks to people who obviously English is not their first language. English is not my first language either. So I try to keep it very simple. So I don't use big words, and I like life simple. So I will try and keep it very understandable for a lot of people.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so the Dhamma talk today. Yes, Dushka?
I just wanted to confirm that I'm translating.
Yes, of course. No problem. Okay, so maybe
okay.
I'll do this.
Translate what you said. Yes. I just, samo da kažem na srpskom, nadam se da svima bila ok meditacija i pričala je malo o značaju meditacije, kako voli da drži meditaciju, kako misli da je to jako bitno generalno za život i da će sad govoriti sporo, s pauzama, tako da je navikla da priča s ljudima kojima engleski nije prvi jezik i da se ljudi dogovori jednostavno, tako da mislim da će biti ovo efikasno za prevod. So I just translated what you said.
Of course, so yes, I understand. It's good. Okay, so what I will do is because we are not all together in a room, I will when I will say something, I will put my hand up, then you can translate. How's that? Okay. Easy? Super. Okay, cool. So the Dhamma talk today is being mindful in the pandemic. I translated it. I hope it's correct. Biti svjestan u pandemiji. Okay. So what is, I hope that's correct. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is being in the present moment without thinking about your past, like using your memory, or thinking of future, so imagination.
Dakle, ona je sama prevela naslov ove teme na engleskom i svesnosti u doba pandemije, ili svesnost u pandemiji. I kako se definiše svesnost je u stvari kada smo prisutni u trenutku i kada se ne posvećamo pažnju naše prošlosti, našim sećanjima i razmišljanju o budućnosti.
Okay. This body has 6 doors, 6 senses, and they are the ones that pick up the sensations from the outside, like your eye to see, your ear to hear, nose to smell, tongue to taste, body to feel, mind to think.
Dakle, kao što znamo, naše telo se sastoji u budizmu iz 6 čula kojima mi primamo osjećaje od polja. Znači, naše oči za vid, sluh, za slušanje, čulo ukusa, čulo mirisa, iskočilo sam nešto, peto, i naravno čulo uma koje je 6. čulo sa kojim razmišljam.
Super. So when we are mindful, we don't react to things, we respond. A reaction is a basic animal instinct. Like an animal, if you see a normal animal, it will get scared if they most of the time see a human being. And that's a reaction. Whereas a response is something that we do by using our intellect, our understanding. So when we are mindful, we respond to something and we don't react.
Ono što je odlika toga kad smo svesni jeste da mi na stvari koje susrećemo ne reagujemo, nego odgovaramo. Znači, reakcije su nešto što je svojstveno životinjama, nekim impulsima koji su nagonski i prirodni, a kada smo mi svesni, onda ne dozvoljavamo da na stvari imamo tu neku prvu prirodnu reakciju, nego mi razmišljamo i onda na njih odgovaramo na neki odgovarajući način, način svestan.
Perfect. Now the pandemic, obviously, I think looking at the screen, a lot of you are very young, so this is probably something very maybe unique to all of you. Obviously unique to me too, but I'm sure obviously we have something in common. Both our countries have been through wars. So during wars, it's not the same as a pandemic, but we have been through difficulties. So the pandemic is when, obviously with the COVID pandemic, it's the COVID, as you know, is a virus, and the virus basically is a natural process. It's a natural living being, and it has a right to live too. But because the COVID is a very virulent virus, it spreads very quickly. That is why the whole world started to panic. And the reason behind is, obviously in my understanding, is because we have evolved a lot as human beings. We are detaching ourselves from nature and becoming more close. We are becoming more closer to technology. We depend on technology for everything.
Rekla je da čini nam se, iako svi delujemo dosta mladi, da zna da smo mi u našoj zemlji dosta preživeli i da je njena zemlja Šri Lanka isto preživela dosta ratova, ali da je ova pandemija nešto što do sada ni mi nismo videli, da je sve to novo za nas, a i da smo se dosta uplašili, odnosno iznenadili se tim, iako je virus koji je došao u stvari samo još jedno živo biće koje je došlo da živi na našoj zemlji, a mi smo se nekako odvojili u međuvremenu od prirode i više smo se posvetili tehnologiji, mi smo u kontaktu sa prirodom toliko.
Super, hvala. So, if we obviously, I think Ishka might have mentioned, obviously I have a medical background, so in my, through my learnings, my education, I know this human body is full of viruses and bacteria and fungi and lots of disease in here. And lots of viruses, fungi, bacteria out in our environment too. But our human body, it's very unique. We can fight against the bacteria, the viruses, the fungi with our immune system, which is very unique, very complex. Science can't still even come close to replicating something like a human being. And also we have to remember that people forget nowadays that as the planet Earth, even though we have different countries, different cultures, we're all in one, it's like one big ball of earth separated by seas, oceans, and rivers. So we're all in the same place, but just separated through, how would you say, like margins. So I feel when the pandemic started, everybody was starting to panic. They were worried about their countries, but they forget that if we all think together, this situation would not be as bad as it is today.
Okay, we have dog background, but I hope you will hear me. Okay, rekla je da, ne znam da li ste pročitali u opisu, da je ona ima dosta medicinskog obrazovanja, da je u stvari lekarku profesiju bila i da je u stvari, ona s tog misli u stvari znamo da naše telo je jedan veoma kompleksan sistem koji je ispunjen i bakterijama i virusima i gljivicama i da svuda oko nas na našoj planeti se istovremeno nalaze razne bakterije, viruse, gljivice i da je ljudsko telo jedan fenomen koji još uvek nauka nije apsolutno razumela i da se naš imunni sistem u stvari bori svakodnevno protiv svih tih nekih mikroorganizama koje se nalaze u nama i oko nas. I da je u stvari kada se desila ova pandemija da je to nešto što je zahvatilo ceo svet na globalnom nivou i da smo mi malo zaboravili da smo mi u stvari svi zajedno deo ove planete i da nas odvajaju neke fiktivne granice, odnosno margine koje smo mi sami postavili i da bi u stvari sve mnogo bilo lakše da smo stvar posmatrali to jedna vrsta koja živi na jednoj planeti, a ne kao svaka zemlja za sebe.
Super. Okay. So obviously when the pandemic started, which I'm sure you all remember about 1.5 years ago, it was obviously very different to all of us. And I suppose for the first few weeks, we didn't quite know what to do because everybody was told to stay in their homes and not go out. I'm sure it was the same in Serbia, in England too, when I was there during the pandemic. I had to close my business because at the time I wasn't a nun. We literally had to stay at home. We could go to the shop and buy food, and only at different times of the day, and just stay at home. You can't do anything, you can't work. So I found personally it was a lot of time to rest, to relax physically and mentally, and start obviously to get more into the Dhamma. Yes, and I found obviously at the time with my business, my patients, they later on when I met them again, a lot of people found time to think about who they are, what their purpose was, because everybody suddenly had to stop. We were all running, and suddenly there was a barrier and said, no more, you can't go, you're just wait.
Kao i svi mi, ona je pandemija zatekla Englesku, ona se tad još uvek nije bila zamonašila i možda ste vidjeli, imala je praksu kao oralni hirurg i odjednom se zatekla u situaciju gde je morala da napusti posao i svoje pacijente i da ostane kući da ne radi ništa. I ona je rešila da to vreme posveti sebi, odmoru, meditaciji i dubljem proučavanju dame. A i kasnije, kada je srela ponovo te ljude kojima se dugo nije vidjela, shvatila je da se većina ljudi u stvari, da je većina ljudi iskoristila to vreme da se na kraju posveti sebi, da postavi sebi neka pitanja ko smo i zašto smo tu i da malo radi na sebi u toj situaciji.
Oh, okay. So yes, so basically, so what we have to learn through the Buddhist teachings is obviously use the Buddhist teachings to guide us, because everything we do, there are only 3 doors that activate this body, which is our bodily functions, our verbal functions, and our mental functions or actions. Okay, so when we are mindful, we are aware of our bodily functions. And our bodily functions, if you break it down, there's only 4 ways we can keep our body. You're either sitting, standing, lying down, or walking. And obviously verbal functions, to speak. If we are mindful, we learn to control what we speak, only speak what is necessary, and also to speak in a way that we don't bring harm to ourselves or to anyone else. Like, for instance, lying, shouting, gossiping about people. And nowadays, obviously, very common, telephone and Tuna preacher, just call and talk and nothing. There's no substance to what people talk about. So, and also our mental functions. When we are mindful, we don't have the hatred or the anger or the delusion.
Ono što možemo da naučimo iz Budinih pouka u neki način u svakodnevnom životu je da mi u stvari možemo da kontrolišemo neka 3 aspekta našeg tijela, koje su te neke telesne funkcije, verbalne funkcije i mentalne funkcije. Sad, kada bolje razmišljamo, te telesne funkcije u stvari su samo neka 4 načina na koje naše telo može da se ponaša, da se kreće, odnosno može da sedi, da leži, da se kreće, odnosno da hoda ili da spava, nema tu sad nekih velikih mogućnosti. Što se tiče naših verbalnih funkcija, tu je znači bitno da kontrolišemo naše verbalne radnje na taj način da govorimo samo ono koliko treba i kako treba i na taj način da nikoga ne povredimo, da nikome ne nanesemo zlo. I naravno tu su naše mentalne funkcije koje treba da kontrolišemo na taj način da izbjegnemo 3 otrova obmanutost, pohlepu i mržnju, da. I always forget hatred. Whenever there is
hatred. Okay, I have a translator.
It is not in my vocabulary.
Oh.
I always forget about it when I hear.
Oh, bless you. Okay, that is good. You don't have hatred in your heart. That's very good. Let's see what hatred comes. Monahinja?
Monahinja, yes. Every time I have to like list it in some sort of a list, I always forget it. It always hits my mind.
Bless you. That's a good thing. That means you don't have hatred. You have love in your heart. Okay. Super. Dobra. Finished. Okay. Super. Okay. So, so the COVID virus is, like I said before, it's very virulent. It spreads very quickly. The flu virus, the influenza virus, it's similar, not as strong. And also what happens now in the world, because we have, the world is a lot cleaner, more sterile than maybe 50 years ago. We use a lot of chemicals to clean everything, which what happens is the virus is a living being. Okay, so we have to think living being, all living beings, it doesn't matter. We look different, but we work the same. Okay, so only thing, different way of thinking, but that's not relevant. And so if somebody attacks us, we become defensive. The virus is the same. So we are attacking it with lots of chemicals all the time. So it becomes defensive. So for it to be defensive, it changes the way it works. And that's why they have variants of it. And I think they're going through the English alphabet, now the Greek alphabet. So I think it's going to take a long time before this is all over. But yeah, so the simple truth is that. So if we are not defensive to the virus, if we accept it as it is, and we are mindful in our actions, it is a lot easier to live with the virus. Okay, so yes, we have to be careful. We have to wash our hands, wear a mask, because that will protect us when we go outside. But we have to always remember, if we do something too much, we become sterile ourselves. Our natural immunity breaks down, it slows down. So I don't know if it applies to Serbia, but in Sri Lanka, we have dogs that live on the street. They live for a long time because they have all the fleas and they don't get the good food. They don't get bathed. But the dogs that live in the houses, they have all luxury, but they live short time because their immune system is not strong.
I have dogs from the street with my house, so I think I'm safe.
It's lovely.
Okay. Rekla je da ono što se dešava već poslednjih 50 godina je da mi u stvari živimo mnogo čistije i sterilnije nego što se ranije živelo, a da je virus jedno živo biće koje, kao što smo već rekli, hoće da živi na ovoj planeti zajedno sa nama i da je on našao načina da se izbori protiv svih tih akcija koje mi činimo od njega da uništimo i zbog toga nastaju te nove varijante virusa koje su sad krenule da idu po srpskoj azbuci i da se što većim nekim agresivnim dejstvom protiv virusa, da će u stvari on samo da se više brani protiv nas. Tako da u stvari ono što treba da radimo je da se zaštitimo, da budemo svesni opasnosti, ali da ne budemo previše agresivni, nego jednostavno da se pomerimo s činjenicom da je to živo biće koje je tu oko nas i da ne treba previše da živimo sterilno, da ne bi uništili totalno naš imunni sistem. I kaže kako je na Šri Lanci postoje ti uličnici. I've been to Sri Lanka, I've seen the dogs. They look like this one. They're all yellow and skinny. I koji su onako veoma neugledno i prljavo izgledaju i nikad se ne kupaju, imaju buve i jedu tako hranu koju ljudi bace, ali žive godinama. Za razliku od ovih pasa koji žive po stanovima, koji jedu najzdraviju hranu, ali žive veoma kratko. Tako da...
Mutirala si se.
Ne čujem te.
Kako sam se mutirala, ne znam. Pa rekla sam samo da postoje, znači koristi toga da ne živimo sterilno, nego da se trudimo da održimo naš imunitet ipak nekom interakcijom sa ostalim živim bićima na ovom svijetu.
Okay, super. So, if you, I'm sure you might have all seen during the pandemic, there were stories, if you watch the news, where people, very old people, got COVID, but they recovered because the clue is not because they're old. Physically, the body is old, but their mind is very strong. They have determination, and also if you look at their life, they're very quite mindful in their approach to life, and they are very practical, and that is the key. So the mindfulness leads to becoming very practical. You don't, like we go back to when we started our talk, you learn to respond to things, not to react. Okay, so by responding, you take, when something happens, you take a few moments before you think of you act on it. Okay, and you like create a gap, and that's very important in order to keep us, the way I see it, keep us safe through these difficult times. And we live in a conventional world, unfortunately, so where people, I don't like to use the word, but crazy things, and especially governments, because unfortunately everything is built, runs on money, how much money one can make, the success of somebody. So the people in the higher places kind of control people, the greater majority. So, but we have to accept, we have to live in this conventional world, but the more mindful we are, the more tolerant we become and to accept, but we have a vision, we know our path, where we want to go, and it doesn't matter. So sometimes the path is not full of flowers, it's lots of things as well. And I remember a monk once told me, the more bad things that happen to you in your life, the more it makes you stronger and gives you more focus on what you want to do. So if you are growing a flower, the more manure you put into it, the more, naturally, if you put fertilizer, natural fertilizer, which is, for instance, like horse manure or cow manure, the flower will bloom very beautifully. So I hope you understand my simile. There is a word in English, but I don't want to use it because it's quite rude.
Okay. Rekla je da postoje to neki stari ljudi koji smo vidjeli, koji su dobili koronu i koji su se izborili samo na osnovu te svoje jake volje i te neke praktičnosti koji su stekli tokom života, izložene sa tim nekim situacijama, ratovima i svim i svačim, gde su jednostavno naučili da budu veoma praktični i da nemaju tu reakciju na stvari, da na sve ne reaguju, nego da razmisle i da onda imaju neki svoj odgovor. I da su tim nekim svojom praktičnošću uspeli da to i generalno kaže da eto, čak i u ovom našem modernom društvu gde smo u nekom sistemu koji je zasnovan na brizi o parama i o nekom finansijskom imetku i možemo da se na neki način isključimo iz toga tako što znamo šta je naš pravi put i šta je naš cilj i ako možemo da dođemo do te svesnosti gde smo stavljeni da ne reagujemo na stvari nego da imamo tu neku pauzu i onda zatim odgovarajući odgovor, onda možemo da budemo srećni na tom svom putu i čak i ako nam naš taj put nije pokriven cvećem i ako imamo nekih ozbiljnih teških prepreka na tom putu, možemo da hranimo taj naš svet nekim zdravim prirodnim đubrivom i on će cvetati i biti zdrav. Nadam se da razumemo tu njeno poređenje, tako da treba da se trudimo na tom putu da hranimo taj naš put nekim dobrim namerama i nekim dobrim đubrivom da bi nam taj naš put bio posut lepim nekim cvećima, ne toliko ti neki teški cveća.
Super. So, if you read about, obviously, the beginnings of the Buddhism and the Buddhist teachings, and I'm sure you probably know that the first 20 years after the Bodhisattva became Lord Buddha, the first 20 years there were no codes of discipline in the practice. It's only later when there were difficulties came to be, the Lord Buddha brought in codes of practices for the monks and nuns. But if you read through, which you can find on the internet, about the codes of practice, how we live our lives as monks and nuns, they're very practical. And especially I found during the COVID times, it became a great eye-opener to see. And also when I see the monks, like, how they eat, they have a bowl so they don't cross-infect each other. Yeah, traditionally the bowl is used for bathing, eating, drinking, and they have their robes, which they use obviously, when they sleep. And I think the monks normally have 3 robes, and the nuns we have 5. And also when we walk, we don't lift our foot off the floor, we kind of like shuffle. Yeah, so when you shuffle, you don't create a disturbance to any creatures on the floor. Yeah, little things. And obviously when we walk, we have our head a little bit down. So if you think of the COVID situation, you're not exposing your nose to a greater area. And also when we speak, we only speak as what is necessary. I suppose later on in the Buddhist practices, we have a little fan. I don't think that was around during the time of the Buddha, but they might have used something different. But when you use the fan, it's kind of like a mask. So when there are a lot of monks and nuns, when we keep the fan, it stops the spreading of the infection from one to another. Very practical. So.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Ono što je ona shvatila kad se zamonašila u vreme korone jeste da su kao što znamo, u prvih 20 godina nakon što se probudio Buda nisu postojala ova stroga moneška pravila, nego kad ona nastala i na kraju je to postojalo da su veoma praktična. Mislim, nastala su, pretpostavljamo, iz nekih praktičnih razloga jer su bile neophodne da se uvedu. Ali eto, ona je zaključila, živeći ovaj moneški život, da su stvari ta pravila veoma praktična i za koronu, a verovatno u tadašnje vremena su bila veoma praktična da se ne šire razni virusi i bakterije. Zato što monaši imaju tu svoju jednu činiju iz koje jedu i kupaju se, nemaju nikakvo posuđe drugo i ne dele tu činiju ni sa kim, tako da nema nikakve međusobne kontaminacije. Takođe, način na koji oni hodaju jeste da lagano vuku u svoje stopala po podu, da nema nekog kažnjenja, tako da se ne uznemirava ni površina tla, ne diže se prašina, niti se dižu neki bakterije, virusi što se nalaze na podu. I oni takođe imaju te svoje odore, svako ima, monasi imaju 3, monahinje imaju 5 odora u kojima ispavaju se jade i brinu o njihove čistoći. Takođe, kasnije u budinim običajima postoje i te neke lepeze koje se nose. Iako monasi kada govore, oni govore samo minimalno koliko treba i uglavnom sa glavom spuštenom niže, tako da u stvari nemaju neki kontakt da duvaju jednim drugima u lice, ali i te marame su na kraju, te lepeze su u stvari isto tako ispostavilo se korisne u te neke svrhe zaštite protiv kontaminacije. Pretpostavljamo neke zarazne bolesti koje su i tada postojale. Tako da je ona u stvari to osvestila u ovo doba pandemije, da su te sve prakse koje su određene tim monaškim pravilima u stvari veoma praktične u ovo doba.
Thank you, Kala. So kind of like as Lord Buddha showed us when he attained the Buddhahood in the first week, I'm sure you know about the 7 weeks of practice he did before he went out to tell about his Buddhahood. So the first week he paid gratitude to the tree that gave him the protection during the time that he was practicing to be enlightened. And that's why in Buddhism, especially in Theravada Buddhism, we worship the Bodhi tree because if you think of it in a practical sense, it makes us aware of nature and how we should always be respectful to nature. I've noticed my time in Montenegro, people are very respectful of nature. They respect the trees, and that is really, really nice to see. I was very humbled by that because in England, we don't see it that much. So, and it's a dying thing around the world. So it's beautiful to see that people are close to nature. And nature, we came from nature. His body is from nature. When our mother, the cells from our mother and father come to be, and then through the food our mother ate, gave us this body. Yes, other factors came, but the physical body comes from nature. That's why when we die, we go back to it again. So it's a full cycle. Yeah. So there is in the Dhammapada, I think you can read up, it's 188, verse 188, where the Lord Buddha said, please excuse me, I don't know by heart, but I took a picture. Let me just go through my pictures. So the Dhammapada basically was 188. If I may recite it. Yes, the Pali verse is.
I will find it at the end.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I have the English translation, very simple, but you can translate, you can send it to your colleagues. But the Pali verse is Bahum ve saranam yanti sabbatani vanani cha aramarukha chetyani manusa baya tajjita, which in the simple English translation says, many people shaken by fear go for refuge to woods, mountains, and to tree shrines in pleasure parks. So basically, if you think of the pandemic created a lot of fear to people, and a lot of people who are, for a better word, a little bit awakened, went to nature, went to look for trees and mountains and rivers and be close to nature. Like when we have difficulties in our time, in our life, we normally go to our mother. Yeah, if you don't have a mother, the closest to a mother. Okay, and so nature is, that's why Mother Nature. Nature is our mother too, not our birth mother, but kind of a birth mother because we came from there. So when we go back to nature, it helps us to relax and gives us more energy to be able to keep going.
Kao što znamo, prve nedelje posle probuđenja Buda je svoju zahvalnost iskazivao Bodi drvetu koje ga je štitilo dok se nije probudio, i u Šri-Lanci postoji, generalno u Theravada tradiciji postoji taj neki običaj obožavanja tog Bodi drveta, i generalno ono predstavlja vezu sa prirodom. I ona kaže kako smo mi u stvari deo prirode i kako smo potekli iz prirode i kako nas je priroda, odnosno naša majka, ta hrana koju ona unosila, ljubav i sve nastalo od toga u stvari naše tijelo. I onda je pročitala stih iz Dhammapada, broj 188, evo imam prevod kako je Branko preveo. Kaže, voljeni strahom, ljudi utočište traže na mestima raznim, u planini i šumi, u vrtovima, pod drvetom ili u hramu. I kaže kako su većina ljudi, kad su se našli zateknuti, odnosno uplašeni od pandemije, utehu nalazili u prirodi, zato što mi prirodu na neki način poistovećujemo sa majkom. Majka priroda, ta složenica nije nešto čudno i neobično, i tako obično kada nam treba uteha mi se obratimo majci ili nekome slične majci. I kako je većina ljudi koji su probuđeni, koji su na neki način se osvestili, neku utehu za vreme pandemije našli u prirodi, tražeći zelenilo, tražeći neke šume, neke livade, i dosta su putovalo po Srbiji i da ljudi budu okruženi prirodom na najbolji mogući način.
Okay, fine. So yeah, so basically the essence of everything is you all are very fortunate to be obviously following the Theravada Buddhist traditions and living your life according to that. And I always say, keep things simple, don't get scared, because everything, like, as you know, everything in life is a cause and effect. So if we change sometimes we can't change the cause, but we have to suffer the effect. But when we are mindful, it's a bit like having a shield, so you can protect yourself. And if you can change the cause, then you change it for have a good cause, so you have a good effect. So it's this pandemic will probably last for a little while longer, but we have to keep focus on the path that we're going and don't let it disturb us, but embrace what's happening and just live mindfully and practice mindfulness, which is the key. It's not difficult. Life is very easy when you keep polishing this little diamond. Okay.
Kaže kako je veoma dobro to što smo mi eto rešili da se uputimo tim putem na koji nas Theravada budizam upućuje i da je u stvari veoma jednostavno samo se uprostiti život i baviti se svesnošću i kaže da će eto, ova pandemija će potrajati i ne možemo uvek da učinimo nešto, da promenimo stvari, jer se stvari uglavnom nekako sastavljeno od uzroka i posledica. Neki put možemo da promenimo uzrok i treba da se potrudimo da promenimo uzroke da bi posledice bile što bolje za sve, ali neki put jednostavno ne možemo da promenimo uzrok i treba da se pomirimo sa tom činjenicom i da pokušavamo da živimo što jednostavnije i svesno i da aktivno radimo na tome da ovaj naš odnosno našu svesnost glancamo dok se ne sakri i na taj način ćemo nastaviti da živimo jednostavno na našem putu i samo da se pomirimo sa činjenicama da će taj virus biti tu još neko vreme i da će nam onda slediti jednostavno.
Perfect. Wonderful. Very good translator. I would like if anyone has any questions or any discussion you would like to, for me to help you to better understand or something you might have not understood in my talk. Any questions or anything you like to add?
We have Održan wants to ask something.
Sestre, Duška, možeš da prevedeš. Hteo sam da pitam otkud ona u Crnoj Gori? Kako to da pozitivno naravno, ali otkud to Kotor da izabere kao svoje mesto za stanovanje?
Mislim da te razumela toliko. Did you understand him? It's the question of the day. What are you doing in Kotor?
In Kotor, oh. I just love this part of the world. I traveled a lot, but I found there was a calling. I found some peace here when I came. And maybe it was from my past, I don't know, but I just felt this is the place I need to be in the final part of this journey. So, and I'm surrounded by mountains. I live in a little village outside Kotor. So bless you. I live in a little, so surrounded by mountains, and the sea is not too far. So, and lots of trees. So very nice environment to meditate and be close to nature. And I tell my friends, I see a new creature every day. So it helps me to better understand that there's millions and millions of creatures out there. And we are very fortunate to be born as human beings, because as a human is the only way to attain nirvana. You have to be born a human being. You can't even be born in the higher realms as gods and attain nirvana. You have to come to planet Earth.
Okay, prevesti sad koliko budem uspela. Dakle, ona je dosta putovala po svetu i kada je došla u Crnu Goru, osetila je tu neki poziv, neku da kažemo, energiju koja je privukla da ostane tu, kako ona kaže, na ovom poslednjoj etapi svog puta. I sviđa je se što je tu okrunjena planinama i dole blizu je more, a opet ima sredinu koja je tiha i veoma dobra za meditaciju i sviđa se što svaki dan vidi neko novo živo biće koje ranije nije videla, neku novu životinju ili biljku i drago je što ona kao ljudsko biće to može to sve, da uživa u svemu tome i što ima tu priliku da kao ljudsko biće ode bude na tom putu ka prosvetljenju, jer ne može niko da dođe do Nibane bez toga da je to bio čovek na ovoj planeti Zemlji, makar u jednom delu svog puta. Eto, njoj je drago što je ona tu na ovom delu svog puta. Da može da uživa u toj prirodi.
Next question. Duška pita je da li može da nas blagoslovi, ako nije problem.
I knew he was going. He always asks monks for a blessing. So if you're willing to maybe at the end or now.
Yes, of course. When we finish, I will bless everyone. Of course, naturally, it's our custom to do that. Of course, absolutely, no problem. And even if I bless today, my blessings are always with you, always. Svaki dan. Puno blagoslova svaki dan. So, anyone else? Any questions or anything?
Thank you, sister.
Goran,
We have Goran.
Yes, I would like to ask you two questions.
Yes.
First is just practical one, informative. Since you live in Montenegro, are you open to meeting in person in live contact?
Yes, I can't see why not. Obviously, I live in my home, but if people want to meet, we can arrange something. So, and I'm happy to help. So, because of the virus situation, I don't know if there are difficulties, but there is. If one was to come to visit me, there is an outside area where I can talk to people, so it's safe for everybody. So we can do something. Yes, okay. I'm happy to help.
Nice.
And yes. And you live in Serbia, so?
No, I live in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That is close to Montenegro. So
yes,
I might come to Kotor for this summer. So that's why.
Of course, yes. So through the monastery, through Dushka, we can organize something. Absolutely. Yeah. We can organize a venue. Maybe people can come and, we can do something, whatever you like to do, either meditation or discussion. So, it's an open plan.
Great.
Yes, good. Very
glad.
Okay. And second question, we have two questions.
Second question, you said that life is simple by nature. So can you just elaborate that a little bit? What do you mean?
Yes. Yes. Simple is, I personally find through my life experience, I like to keep things very simple. So when obviously before I was a nun, I was a dentist. I had my business and obviously running a business is not easy, especially in the United Kingdom, lots of protocols. But you have to be happy at what you do. Yeah, you have to accept the situations and do your best, because that's all we can do. We're all different. We all have different capabilities. But when we do something to the best of our ability with what I say, it's an open heart, then life is simple. It's not complicated. People make life complicated because they think too much. They worry what will happen. But if you have an understanding of what you are doing, or if you don't, you learn about it, yeah, through either reading or through you get some advice, and then you have some tools to do what you have to do, maybe physical tools or mental tools. You understand? Yeah. And I remember a monk once said, one of the Dhamma talks I listened to, he said, if you are cleaning the street, you're sweeping the street, think of it as you are creating a masterpiece on the street. Like when you clean, you are cleaning it so beautifully that the angels will look down and they will see that you're doing it with your heart. You're not doing it just a job. It's your life. Yeah. So people, if you practice whatever you do with your heart, and you focus on how much good you can do by doing what you do. You practice more, being more selfless. You use your physical energy, your time to help the greater, the environment, people. That's why when you like say, for instance, volunteer your time, voluntary services where you can give your time to any cause that you may want, maybe helping some people who are old, or helping to look after your local environment. So you think of other people, not just yourself. Yeah. So you learn to be more selfless. So the more we think, the more we stop thinking about this and think of the greater picture of what this does with everybody else, it becomes more fulfilling, and life becomes, you become more happy. And you kind of, you see your problems are not really that big, because you're like using the energy from outside as well to help you. Does that make any sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So I always encourage people to, offer your time to help people. I do charity work where I help children to learn, children in Sri Lanka and Nepal. We help them every year to go to school, buy their books, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and for very little, maybe I think it's something like 60 euros for a year. We buy the books for the children, and it's amazing. You see them, they don't have to worry about going to school, because everything they have, we give them. So they go to school, they learn, and a lot of the children we've helped have gone to university, want to become doctors and engineers, and then they're going to help their society. So, and giving your time, free time, even with your local environment, help your neighbors, and to make everyone's life better. And that's it helps you to grow as a human being, become more selfless. I hope that I answered your questions, sir. Okay, no problem.
I don't know if I can translate that.
Right. Oh, I think hopefully Goran.
I said I don't know if I can.
Sorry,
No,
I was
Goran
going on a
understood you, but
little bit.
just for everyone else, just to short. No, it is perfect. I just wanted to shorten it a bit. So, prvo pitanje je pitao Goran da li može da se poseti u Kotoru i ona kaže da ona iako živi u svojoj privatnoj kući tamo, tipo ima neki prostor napolje ako neko želi da dođe, može preko mene, mislim preko sajta ili preko Facebooka da stupi u kontakt s njom. Tako da postoji ta mogućnost. I drugo pitanje je bilo da pojasni način kako ona smatra da je život veoma jednostavan. I onda je ona pričala o tome kako treba da radimo u stvari ono što volimo i da budemo svesni svih prepreka situacije koje nas okružuju i da nađemo alate da olakšamo u stvari sebi te neke svoje probleme koliko možemo i da u stvari nađemo način da posvetimo vreme i pažnju drugima i kada ne razmislimo toliko puno o sebi i o svojim problemima da u stvari onda shvatimo da naši problemi nisu toliko veliki i da se posvetimo energiju i vreme drugima, u stvari činimo naš život jednostavniji. Ja sam to skratila pokušala.
Super.
Sorry, and just to say about the books.
Yes.
Da ona u stvari to neko svoje dobročinstvo koje radi je to što posvećuje neko vreme i novac deci i omogućava da children from Sri Lanka and where?
Sorry, Dushka?
Deci Sri Lanka. Sorry, you said the children to buy books from Sri Lanka
Sri Lanka and Nepal. Nepal.
And Nepal, yes.
Nepal,
That's sorry. Kupuju knjige da decu iz Sri Lanka i iz Nepala koje mu omogućavaju da tu uspešno završe školu i posle idu na univerzitete i tako.
Super. Anyone else? Any questions? Anything you might not have understood? Well, okay. I hope it wasn't too boring.
No, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Irena
has something to say.
Yes.
I just want to thank you for a wonderful Dhamma talk. And we can also thank pandemic for meeting you, because if there was not pandemic, they wouldn't be on Zoom and our group would be in physical space. Not only wouldn't have some people from Bosnia or from Montenegro, and so thank you for your time and for your devotion, and hope to see you soon again.
Absolutely, and thank you. It's been so amazing to obviously be with all of you, even though not physically, but hopefully we'll all get to be, together soon. So in some way, but it's okay. Technology is there to be used for good things. So
correct.
Yes, absolutely. So if Dushka is okay, I will do a blessing for everyone, if that's all right with everyone. I will keep it simple, and then if Dushka would like to translate, you're most welcome to do so.
My internet is going to be crazy.
Okay, we'll wait. We have to work with Zoom a lot, so technical difficulties happen. It's okay.
Yes, my internet is going to be crazy. Sorry, I didn't hear the last few seconds, but continue whatever. I will translate if necessary.
Okay, sure. So I will do a blessing for everyone. I will keep it very simple. So when I finish, you can please translate then. My blessing is from my heart. So there's no language barriers. The energy hopefully will come through.
Of course, thank you.
So, because obviously I am trained under the Sri Lankan Theravada, so I will chant a stanza, very short stanza, and then I will do the blessing. Okay? So, Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanupavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te. Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanupavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te. Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanupavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te. May all the merits that I have accumulated through my sansaric journey, I will bless all of you, bless all living beings in this universe. May all of you be well and happy. May you never come to difficulties in your life. And if you do, may you find a solution. May you always be healthy, especially during these pandemic times. And may you have the strength and the courage and the determination to use the teachings of the Lord Buddha to end this sansaric journey, either in this lifetime or very soon in a lifetime. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Thank you. To je bio blagoslov i čant i Theravada tradiciji. Ja sad nisam sve baš najbolje čula, ali ona je to pričala iz srca, tako da je rekla da nije ni bitno šta je rekla, nije bitno ni kom je jeziku rekla, to je sve došlo iz njenog srca i u svakom slučaju je puno blagoslova. Rekla je da nam želi, ko je zapamtio, ja sam, želi nam puno snage i istrajnosti i da nastavimo na ovom putu. Gorane, a me čuješ?
Čujemo.
Goran se čuje.
Aha, izgleda je Goran.
Dobro je sad. No. U svakom slučaju želim nam puno snage i istrajnosti na putu da izađemo iz samsare, ako ne u ovom životu, onda u nekom narednom životu i puno blagoslova. To je suština. Možda sam nešto preskočila, nisam baš sve čula, ali u svakom slučaju i blagoslovi su internacionalni na svim jezicima.
Very good.
Let's see if Dushan is happy with the blessing.
Yes, I hope so. So a blessing always keeps working, okay? It's not a one-off. It's a bit like, I don't know, in England, we have this thing, we say like an old coin. It doesn't go away. It stays in your wallet all the time.
Yes, so, thank you, sister.
Pleasure. You're very welcome. The Buddha's blessing is always with us.
Kako blagoslovima ne propada vrednosti kao neki stari novčić koji zauvek ostane u našem novčaniku, on uvek radi.
Sadhu.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I had a wonderful evening. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. It's Sunday, and I know tomorrow back working for some people. So, but I hope it helped, and if I can be of help in the future, I'm very happy to offer my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.